it began actually because of Joan Rivers, strangely enough, who's our neighbor here in the country. And she gave a party towards just before New Year's, a couple of years ago.
It was quite a large group of people, and there was a huge table. And at the end of it, she said, "I know you're not going to like this, but I want to go around the table, and each of you tell me what you're grateful for."
Everybody groaned, as you could imagine, and said, "No, no, we don't want to do that." But she insisted, as she does about everything in life, and it began with her. She said she was grateful that her daughter and her grandson were healthy and happy.
The man next to her said, "I'm grateful for the puppy dog I just got," and this countess from England said she was grateful for her harvest. And then finally it came to Alan.
And I, without even thinking, I'd never said it out loud in my life, I said, "I'm grateful that Norman and I have been together for 50 years.
And there was an audible gasp, as you could see everybody doing the math, trying to figure out how old we were. And then the evening sort of stumbled to an end. And afterwards, as we were saying goodbye, the man with the dog, puppy dog, came up to Alan. He turned out to be an architect, and said, "My friend and I have been together for 18 years, and I want you to know that the two of you are really an inspiration to us." So when we got out to our car and we started chatting about what he had said and what the evening was, I said, "I mean, why are we an inspiration? I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous." And then we kind of thought, well, what is it we have to offer?
And then we started to think about young people, because we've been reading about young people committing suicide. Time magazine had done a huge article about how young gays can't conceive of a relationship going more than 10 years. And we began to talk about it and thought, well, maybe we have the responsibility to write about our life, to show young gays and their families that there can be a happy, in our case monogamous, life for two men or two women, and they can contribute to each other's lives and be loving and lead wonderful lives.
We had never read about that. We had never had any guidelines in our relationship. We thought maybe by writing a book together just about the way we were and the way it was, it might be of some benefit in some way. So it was not about proselytizing in any way. We just suddenly thought, well, let's just talk about our life. Alan started the book. And in the beginning, he was going to write it. He was going to interview me through a device of a kind of narrator that he had concocted that comes to visit two men and is writing a piece about a same-sex relationship. So Alan would had a microphone, and he would tape me every now and then. He'd say, "What happened when such and such happened?" or "What happened when this?" and so forth. And he would put the microphone to my mouth, and I would talk it about whatever event he wanted me to describe. And then he started to put this manuscript together, and I saw what I had said typed out, and I couldn't stand it. I sounded so stupid, and I really didn't like that character. So I said to Alan, if I'm going to be involved in this book, I have to write my own part.
We decided to alternate chapters so that we would never write about the same thing except how we met. That we wrote about together, although separately. And then from then on, one took one chapter, one took another. We never argued about it. We just seemed to take the chapter that we wanted and we felt keenly about. And that's how the book evolved.
We didn't want the book to be Rashomon, although we do it in the very beginning. The first chapter, you know a little bit about my background and where I'm coming from and my ambitions and so forth. Also my attitudes regarding my homosexuality, which were now becoming resolved. Alan then has his own fears and needs, so we each write from a different point, and then we finally come together.
We got on very well. Actually, we wrote about things that we'd never told each other, because we realized if we were going to tell the book to young people, it had to be honest. And so we wrote even things that we had kept from each other when we were young for fear of them destroying the relationship. Now we were older and we felt we could accept them, and we did.
But we each take a different story or a different little journey that hopefully keeps the reader entertained and interested, and yet never leaves the core of the book, which is our relationship.
It's not only for the young people, the young gays, to see that there is a great relationship that is possible, but for their parents, the parents who think, oh God, my kid is never going to have a happy life. We wanted those parents to see that there was such a thing, and we also wanted heterosexuals to see that gays are pretty much like them. We have the same problems, we have the same career problems, we have to make a living, we want to have a nice house, we want to be well and be able to afford doctors. All of this stuff is the same.
We thought we'd just take a stab at it and see if our lives together, our relationship of so many years, and the value that we put on it might somehow have some meaning for young people.
We might be able to make a statement to people who still think that gays are something weird, something odd, that we're really all the same. We're all the same people looking for the same kind of happiness and the same kind of love.
We wrote the book not so much to brag ourselves. As a matter of fact, I felt I had nothing to write about. Alan had his whole history in the theater, acting, much more glamorous, much more identifiable. Making art is not particularly interesting to anyone. However, our relationship, I felt, was something that I had to deal with. I don't think I've ever really dealt with it either. I think we just did it and never kind of analyzed it and said we're doing something better than somebody else. But the fact is we did. We had a relationship that lasted all this time. And I can't imagine having a life that's better than the one I have with Alan.
I mean, to this day, I'd rather be with Norman than anybody in the world. I will never have enough things to say to him, nor he to me. But when we did begin living together, we had the problems of making a living. Norman's career, my career. I shifted careers, Norman shifted careers. We were constantly interested in each other's lives.
We have never run out of conversation. And also, we're very admiring of each other's accomplishments. We're a great support system for each other. And then, you know, we love each other. I like to look at him and see his face and see his features, and they mean a great deal to me. They move me very much. I've seen him age, you know, as he has me. And it's enriching. It makes me happy.